Hi, Lara.
Hi, Melanie.
So glad you're here today. So glad I get the chance to chat with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
That's great. You've got a really exciting week coming up.
I do.
The launch of your new memoir, Mama, Mama, Only Mama. And I'm going to get you to read the subtitle.
It is, it's incredibly long. I have to read it off the book myself for anyone to see how big it is. It is an irreverent guide for the newly single parent, from divorce and dating to cooking and crafting, all while raising the kids and maintaining your own sanity, sort of.
I love it. I got the chance to have an advanced read copy, but I read it online, so it's really fun to see the actual copy. Do you want to hold it up again so we can all look at it? It's beautiful, nice and shiny. You rub it against your face when it came.
And it's really exciting to me because the editors put pictures in here. Let me see. They made, okay, first of all, it's a collection of stories, blogs, and recipes.
Okay.
So when I have a blog, they formatted it to look like you're reading a blog on your phone.
That's really cool. That's great.
And when they do a recipe, they made the paper, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it's sort of looks like it's ripped out of a magazine.
That's awesome.
So the actual physical book is really, I think, very exciting. And it has pictures. See, there's a toilet.
There's the toilet. I'm very excited to get my hands on it. How are you feeling? So it comes out on Tuesday, right?
Yes.
So what is that, May 8th? May 7th?
7th.
May 7th.
Yes.
So Tuesday, May 7th, Mama, Mama, Only Mama. How are you feeling?
I'm really excited. I started writing my Mama, Mama, Only Mama blog back in 2013. So I've been working on the content on some level for a really long time. And the book itself, it's been, a few years. And it's just really exciting that dream that I sat with back, when my kids were still in diapers practically, is now actually coming into the world.
And one of your kids is a 9th grader now, right?
Yes.
So it's been long in coming. That's exciting. So what are you doing kind of to prepare yourself for its launch into the world and to kind of keep yourself grounded as it comes out?
I had a book come out last year called Girlish, and the anxiety for that was really kind of crazy. And what I learned from it, though, is that exercise helps me more than just about anything else. So coming up to the launch, I started a habit of regular exercise to get myself back in the mindset, because I'd kind of slacked off over time, let's be honest. And that really helps me get the physical anxiety out of my body.
Sure.
But this book, to me, it's such a happy book that it's much less stressful. And it's also, every year the kids are older, they give me more space to get stuff done.
Right.
Which kind of makes it an easier time period to be publishing.
Absolutely. So what do you do for exercise?
I do workouts on the computer.
Yeah.
And right now I'm doing heavy lifting, which is new to me, and it's fun, and I'm enjoying it a whole lot more than I ever thought I would.
Is that with weights?
Yeah.
Wow. Good for you. I run, but for the same reason, to try to release some of that anxiety. It definitely is a good self-care tactic, especially if you're a memoirist, I think. So we are really excited to help support you and your book, and we want everybody to go and buy it. For those of you who are watching, it's a great read, and it's very entertaining. I laughed out loud multiple times, and you can read above in the interview just more conversation about the book that you and I had in our formal interview. But I'm curious to know a little bit about, so this is your second memoir. Has memoir always kind of been your go-to genre?
Actually, I started writing fiction.
Oh, really?
But I found that everything that I wrote had so much of me in it that I really felt like I needed to write memoir and get it out of my system in order to be able to write fiction where everything wasn't secretly based on myself or people that I knew. It was a story, the story of my life was just pressing on me so much that I had to focus on that first.
And do you feel like that works? Like, because you mentioned about that, what you're working on now it's a young adult book, right? And a young,
actually middle grade.
Middle grade
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I'm not done with memoir. I have another one coming, but I have to let some time pass before I can write that story.
Yeah.
So while that is evolving sort of in the real world, I have to wait for life events to unfold more for me to really get a handle on how to view the story, if that makes any sense at all. So I'm writing these books for my kids because I've written these 2 memoirs now, which I'm very proud of, but they're not written for children.
Right.
And my kids have been very proud of me and very excited, and they go to my book release parties and they've been to readings. But they can't, I've asked them not to read those books. So I wanted to give them something that they could read.
Right.
So I started writing a middle grade novel because my youngest this was last year, he was 10. And every night I would read them the chapter at bedtime. And my oldest would say, "Oh no, that character would never say that, Mama. That is completely wrong."
Oh,
And my youngest, if the plot was too slow, he'd sometimes just fall asleep. So they were really intimately involved in the crafting of that story.
Yeah.
And, certainly in the editing and the revision process. So that's very different from memoir, obviously, but it's been an important part of my journey as a writer and something else that I'm really excited about.
And do you feel like, I teach fiction, I teach short story writing, and I've taught that for a really long time. And I write with my students, and I've written some short stories, some fiction as well. I find that really speaks to my memoir writing too. Do you find that, like, that kind of cross genre that way?
Absolutely. I think that really everything sort of bleeds into each other, and the tools of one genre are the tools of the other. In a memoir, you need some plot and character development and setting. Even though it's real life, you still have to make the situation come to life for the reader. But likewise, the fiction that I love has lyrical phrasing in it, and some are more experimental forms. And there's really, the more you learn about one, I think the more it helps the other.
That's great. That's great. I find the same thing. Like, I think also the things we read kind of help to speak to our writing. What are you reading right now?
So right now I've discovered, I'm on a thing called NetGalley, which is a place where you can read and review books before they come out. And I am reading a book called Motherhood So White by Nefertiti Austin, which won't come out until September, but it's a brand new memoir written by another single mama. And it's just wonderful. I absolutely can't wait for it to come out into this world. And as soon as I'm done, I'll review it. But that's what I'm most excited about right now.
Right. So it's called it's just for people listening, it's called NetGalley?
Yes.
Okay.
Like internet.
Yes. That's awesome. That's great.
It's a great source.
Yeah. And so, do you have a launch party coming up for Mama Mama?
I do. I have a couple. On May 10th, which is next Friday, I am having my release party in Cleveland at Visible Voice Books at 7:30. And then I am going up to Rochester, New York, which is my hometown. And May 13th, which is a Monday, I'm doing a release party there at Writers and Books. And then May 18th, I'm going outside of Toledo to a bookstore called Gathering Volumes and doing a reading there. And these readings are all with other readers as well.
Great. And you have, so for your release in Cleveland, because you live in Cleveland, right?
Currently, yes.
Will there be quite a few people like, do you kind of gather your friends and family together for these?
Yeah, it's actually mostly people that I know.
Yeah.
And it's really more of a celebration of the book coming out than like a marketing thing.
Sure.
I mean, certainly I encourage people who don't know me to come.
Yeah.
But my experience last year is that, it's mostly friends and family.
Yeah. For you, once the book is out there, do you feel like you kind of release it, or do you still kind of hold on to the story? Like, what is that like for you, since this is your second time doing it?
For me, the editing process really pulls the book out of me and puts it on the page. And I really felt with Girlish that my story now lived in this book and I didn't have to carry it anymore.
Yeah.
And with Mama, Mama, Only Mama, it's that same sort of feeling that, the stories are less prevalent in my head, but also sort of drifting away. I think that, it used to be that I knew everybody's phone number, right?
Yeah.
Like in the 1980s, I had memorized everybody's phone number. And now I don't know anyone's number because my phone has them all stored.
Yeah.
And I think that our brain knows, okay, the story lives here now. You don't have to keep hold of it so tightly.
Yeah.
And so for me, there's definitely a release of the story inside me once it comes out.
Yeah. I know that that's kind of a common feeling I found, like in the memoirists I talked to for writing hard stories, so many of them said kind of the same thing. It had been this thing that had lived very prominently in them, and to kind of be able to let it out, not that it went away, right? Not that you don't carry the story with you, but it's like putting it somewhere else so that you can kind of balance it better. And I love that analogy so much. So you've got this big book coming out. We're very excited to support you. We're very excited to support it. I'm excited because you and I are doing an event near Boston. I live in New Hampshire and you're in Cleveland, but you're going to be in the Boston area. It's an event at Belmont Books. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, there's going to be 3 of us, you and I, and then a woman named Steph Oteri, I hope I'm saying her name right, whose memoir came out last year called A Dirty Word. And all 3 of us have children. And we're going to have a discussion about writing as a mother and the pressures that are put on you by society and by yourself, and the fears, which I think are very different. When you're writing memoir, when you're writing hard stories, and your kids might read them someday. And there will be snacks. I think that's very important to mention.
Always very important to mention. That makes me even more excited to come. And also, above in our interview, you have a great answer for kind of that question about writing about our children. And so I think it's a topic that a lot of people, a lot of writers who are also parents struggle with, and just kind of also just the basic balance of being a mom and being a writer. There's a lot that goes into that. So I'm really excited and thrilled to be part of that conversation with you and with Steph. So I'm really looking forward to it. How can our listeners and readers find out more about you? What's the best way for them to do that?
I have a website, which is laralillibridge.com. That's kind of hard to spell, so the easier way to find it might be through my first book name, which is girlish.lgbt. That redirects to laralillibridge.com.
Great. Terrific. And also your Twitter handle, do you have?
Yes, only_mama.
Yeah, because you're great on Twitter, I've noticed.
I love Twitter.
Yeah, you're really good. I need better lessons from you about it. Well, Lara, we're really excited for you here at Moving Forwards. We're really excited to support your work and to get it out there into the hands of readers, because I think your writing is beautiful and vulnerable and raw and funny, and just really, I'm excited to see where this book takes you. So thanks so much for taking the time today and being with us. So it's great. And we wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.